I don't know about you, but I only trust the best. So if you're looking at getting your roof checked out, redone, these are the guys that can help you. Belter Roofing and Construction, they are the best. They'll come out, do a free inspection. You can trust them with your roof. Call them, Belter Roofing and Construction. 405-952-7777. That's Belter Roofing and Construction.
This is the Jake for the State podcast, and this is the call for every red-blooded, God-fearing, liberty-loving patriot to prepare yourself, take your position,
stand your ground,
and advance the cause of freedom. Let's go.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. You'll recognize our next guest, Congressman Josh Brecheen. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, Jake. Good to be with you in person, normally over the phone, so it's good to see you.
I know, exactly. It's good to see your face.
You too, man.
Man, well, again, we appreciate all you're doing up in D.C. and around, because you have recently come back from a very important trip that I want to get to, coming back from Turks and Caicos and discovering what exactly is happening down there, detaining 5 Americans, including 1 Oklahoman. Very important story. I want to get your feedback from returning from Turks and Caicos in just a second. First, I want to just get people updated on what's happening with up at D.C. concerning Israel, obviously America's greatest ally. We have just the death of Iranian president in the helicopter crash. And so what's the talk right now in D.C. concerning how we're going to get behind Israel, and even what they're saying about this helicopter crash?
Well, I think it's astounding that we're sending condolences to Iran on behalf of this administration, the Secretary of State. What we should be sending is the message of how we look forward to your next replacement being someone that America is not having to penalize your decisions. And we look forward to sanity coming from Iranian leadership instead of this nicety, the religion of nice.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I mean, we're stopping bombs at millions of dollars that they just sent into Israel, and we're sending condolences. I mean, it's just.
I mean, is it not like saying, hey, we appreciate the Iranian people, but we're so sad to see Hitler die, and. I mean, it's not the same. He's called the Butcher, the Iranian Butcher or something like that. I forget his tag name, but truly evil in every way. And then you have the Biden administration sending condolences on his loss, but saying, we still support the Iranian people. I mean, it's like saying we love you Jews, but we're so sad to see Hitler die.
Yeah, and look, and then the influence of their viewpoint being, upheld by the UN with their ICC, International Criminal Court, issuing, this threat against Netanyahu. And so I think Republicans at large, and I think you have a large number of Democrats, those who are not following, the radical left as it pertains to Israel. I think there's 30 or 40 that follow that radical left ideology, anti-Israel and pro-Hamas. Yeah. But for the bulk of Republicans, if not all, I would say all Republicans, and then for I would say the majority of the Democrats in the House, there is an opportunity for us to yet again reiterate support for Netanyahu. I've signed on a Chip Roy's bill. I hope that, given what I just said, I hope that this House will push that through, which would bring forth sanctions on the ICC officials themselves. They themselves would face sanctions. And then the Senate be sent to the Senate, and let the American people see where the Senate's going to go with that.
Right.
And then let's see what the President of the United States is going to do with that, because that needs to happen. We need to use that tool in the toolbox of saying, you can't do this. As Netanyahu, if you've seen the video of Netanyahu, he actually said, where is this? Where's the precedent for a country that was attacked, kidnapped, rapes, and you're trying to hunt me down for standing up for my country?
Yeah, it's the fact that we are not in every way resolutely behind Israel is astounding. And then to see, what's pouring out onto the college campuses with all the anti-Semitic chaos going on, with
Well,
the administration.
that's compounded by the double speak among
Yep.
the Democrats on this.
Right.
So even though I think there's a majority of Democrats that support Israel in the House, their leadership from Biden is giving the radical side of the Democrat Party is giving them cover. It's support Israel today, against them tomorrow. That type of message is emboldening this river to the sea chanting on college campuses.
Exactly. Well, again, in a related issue, it stresses the importance of retaining majority in the House, does it not? And in the Senate, we can't just think about winning the president, getting Trump in office, but we have to at the same time keep the majority in the House and the Senate so that we can actually accomplish something if and when Trump is elected.
Look, agreed. We've got to have a majority, and the miraculous thing that could happen if we could get above 60 votes in the Senate. That's the prayer for the miraculous to happen. We need that because of the structures of the vote threshold in the Senate.
It was Congressman Josh Brecheen. I want to shift just a little bit to something that you've recently spoke out about, and it's the issue of in vitro fertilization. And obviously, last year, seeing the Dobbs decision reverse Roe versus Wade. Here in Oklahoma, the trigger law went into effect. Abortion clinics shut down. Yet still, there is now this spotlight on life in the womb concerning in vitro fertilization, IVF. And maybe in some ways even more controversial because, it's seen as a miraculous answer to prayer to so many people that struggle with getting pregnant, building a family. Now we have this medical miracle of in vitro fertilization, yet there's so much of it is not regulated. And I believe this is what you were calling for, is more regulation in this area. Tell me what concerns you about IVF.
So when we use the word regulation, Jake, I want to be very careful because I hate that word. I am one of those that sees an over-regulated society. However, where we have the rule of law and where government is supposed to be involved regulating, it's a different subject. So let's go back to the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence, people say, well, why would you bring that up? Because the Declaration of Independence is in tandem with our Constitution. The Constitution ends with this wording: in the year of our Lord, 1789, I guess, when ratification, and of the 12th. Well, what does the 12th mean? The 12th means 12 calendar years backdating to the Declaration of Independence. We have so many of things in the Federal Register, so many proclamations by presidents that list 1776 as the original date. We've gone through two forms of government. We went through the Articles of Confederation, then the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence is our predominant document. It is in tandem with the Constitution as stated in the 12th. What does it say in the Declaration? When we're setting forth the principles of what we're going to form as a nation, or what we were going to uphold, that governments are instituted among men to secure these rights. What was that statement in reference to? The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So government is instituted in part to secure the right to life. All right, so now that I've checked off the constitutional box, then I believe that when you have lives that are being discarded because of eye color, because they're not the right sex, what we are trying to do is gather the information so the American people can fully understand these decisions that are being made. And my contention is, Jake, my concern is that these decisions are being made without life as the predominant. And government is instituted to secure the right to life. And so if you are discarding life and you're doing that without a process that is, we're trying to, provide an implantation into the uterus that then can produce life, but it's just we're discarding it. We're not even implanting that in the uterus. That's a different deal. And for many people, the consideration of just discarding these embryos is financial. It's we don't want to pay, or it's more efficient to place a number, but retain a number so we can have another round because of the expense to get the number. the role of government has a right to play, federal government, in securing the right to life. So that's what my letter is about, is to get information so we can do what the Constitution, in tandem with the Declaration, says the federal government has a role to play in.
Yes. How has that been received, that letter?
We have not received any response thus far from the CDC.
Okay. Well, again, I spoke with Senator Devers on this, and you guys can check out that. I'll post that interview in the show comments on this one as well, so you can see that. But I want to shift once again to Turks and Caicos.
Okay.
You just got back, and what did you learn going there, boots on the ground at Turks and Caicos, where currently 1 Oklahoma and 4 other Americans are being held?
So it was astounding. Let me first start off by saying kudos to Senator Markwayne Mullin. Weeks ago began starting conversations. He has a role to play as a United States Senator in terms of the format of diplomacy. And Ryan Watson from Edmond is not in my congressional district. When I learned that Senator Mullin was doing what he was doing, his role as a United States Senator, his predominant role in diplomacy, I reached out to him and I said, thank you for being aggressive. Thank you for fighting for this family. What can I do to help? He in that call said to me, Josh, we're considering taking a trip. I said I would be very interested. And so I was very pleased to join Senator Mullin leading this. He invited because Pennsylvania is now involved. He invited Republican Guy Rushenthaler, who I served with in the House, but also John Fetterman, who's a United States Senator from Pennsylvania. Also on the trip, Michael Cloud from Texas, another constituent. There's 5 individuals in the last year who have been facing this 12-year minimum sentence for shells. In one, in the young man from Virginia's case, it just fell through seams. And then Bob Good, I forgot to mention Bob Good, also on the trip representing Tyler. And so, look, we're there. We met with the family. Senator Mullin and I sat close to Ryan Watson, his mother and his father, or his stepfather. I learned that Ryan and I have a connection. His dad, Doc Watson, used to train cutting horses years ago. And my father trained professionally, and we've got some common friends in the cutting horse industry, so that was fun. And so Mark Wayne and Ryan and I got to talk about horses for a while.
Yeah. How was the spirits? How was the spirits, Ryan?
That's part of just, hey, his spirits are up. But look, this has gone on for weeks to months, and I was his family considerations, his wife. But also I ask, what about considerations about your job? Like he has a very skilled placement in the profession he's involved in. And, my concern for his what this could do to his employment. And so look, those are all considerations. And he and 2 others are living together. It's so expensive to live there. I was astounded at some in the business community that, kind of made a statement that made us think, do you think that Americans are without, that there's no limit to their financial means?
Yeah.
And so the misperception, even the Turks and Caicos community think, well, what's so hard about staying here? Because you're talking about people losing their life savings going through the process. You got Tyler from Virginia. He's having to live on hot dogs and rice because of the cost of food he was sharing with us. It's so expensive.
Are they living in a house together? Is that
they've
what
got
the
a house?
situation
They've
is?
allowed them to save money, and then they brought in Sharita from Florida. This is the African American grandmother who's not even shot a gun, who had bullets left on a Mother's Day trip because of a gun she has to protect her 5 grandkids. She's never even shot a gun, and the news came out the news came out about her treatment. It's just astounding. We walked away. ABC's reporting on that. I brought that up to the representative from UK. We're just astounded. Look, my message across the table from their premier, who's their lead legislative official. He leads these 15, 20 people that make up their House Assembly. He's like their Speaker of the House there, and the AG and the governor. But the AG and the premier have the ability to effect change on the law. They're saying, well, give it time. Let our judges show you that they're going to, use one of the elements within this law that says that there's extenuating circumstances that a judge can utilize that to lessen the charge of a 12-year minimum. And, my contention to them was, look, I was here 15 years ago. That's what I said to them. I said, my wife and I celebrated our honeymoon here on this island, Providenciales, Turks and Caicos, 15 years ago. Spent 2 weeks. And I said, but my message to my wife is now, given what I've heard about in Tyler from Virginia's case, where his bullets slipped through the seam of his bag. And when they're doing the scan, getting back on the cruise ship at Royal Caribbean, they had to rescan it and rescan it. They couldn't figure out why this thing was coming up, because in the seams, think of a 22 bullet. Okay, it wasn't 22, but just think of how small a 22 bullet is.
Yeah.
How many things that you have luggage, you've gone hunting, and a 22 could slip between a seam, right? He had whatever caliber had slipped through the seam. They had to tear the bag apart to find that. This young man, just by reading his body language, man, he is anxious. And this is a young man who went over there, you know, by just what him and his father have said. You know, he's not of high means. He went over there for a oh my gosh, what kind of party is it when you celebrate? A bachelor party.
Okay.
He went over there for a bachelor party, and for a buddy of his, and he gets back on and slipped in the seam as one of these bullets from a previous hunting trip.
All right, I may not be clear on the details of this story. Were all of the people who are currently being detained in Turks and Caicos, did they come on separate vacations at different times, and now they're all being held for the same reason, for discovering bullets in their bags? Now, before you get to that answer, I want to direct people to the Patreon page. It's the link in the description. You can click that, become a member, and get access to exclusive content like Congressman Brecheen's answer. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe on this channel, and I will see you next time right here on the Jake for the State podcast.